research shining a light on the growing pressures our pastors face every single Sunday. The study finds half of American Christian pastors worry about preaching on hot-button issues, concerned they're going to offend somebody. 69% say they feel pressured by their congregations to discuss controversial topics, while 64% feel limited by their ability to do so. So here to weigh in on this Palm Sunday, Pastor Todd Wagner from Watermark Church in Texas, Pastor Jentezen Franklin from the Free Chaplain Church in Georgia, and Billy Hollowell, Director of Communications for PureFlix, which produces faith-based films. Good to have you all here this morning.
Thank you. Good to be with you.
Good morning. Pastor Wagner, I want to start with you. Do you feel pressure?
Well, I mean, I would just say this. Feelings are real. They're not reliable. So it doesn't really matter what I feel. I've got a job to do. The scripture says that we're ambassadors for Christ, as it were, as if he was imploring others through us. So I would encourage pastors, if you're going to feel pressure, feel it from your king. Feel it from the one that you're seeking to represent.
Pastor Franklin, what about you?
You do feel pressure, but I think it's impossible not to speak to issues that are facing our culture that are so strong. And, you know, many of these issues are seen as political, but they're really biblical. Pro-life is not political, it's biblical. Pro-Israel is not political, it's biblical. Justice and equality is biblical. So I can't be silent on those issues, and I'm not there for the approval of people. And I think that's something that we need in the pulpits again in America.
Very powerful words indeed. Billy, as I bring you in, take a look at the top 3 issues pastors feel limited or pressured about speaking on. Homosexuality, LGBT issues, 44% say they feel limited on that, 37% pressured. Same-sex marriage and the legality of it, 22% limited, 32% pressured. Abortion, pro-life issues, 18%. You see right there. Billy, what does that tell you?
Well, you know, culture is changing, right? Over the last, 5 years, the last 15 years, we've really seen some major shifts. And so it puts pastors in a tough position. And I'm sure the pastors here could say the same thing. There's people outside of the church, and you're worried, are we going to go viral? Am I going to say something? We've seen this happen many times. But the real pressure is coming from inside. There's been a huge increase between 2014 and 2016. The surveys showed that it went from 44% to 66% of pastors feeling that pressure, because with those changes in culture, people in the pews, they want authenticity, they want truth, and so people are craving that. And listen, we've got 23% of the country saying that they're atheist, agnostic, or nuns, not Catholic nuns, but nuns disassociated with faith. So there's a real issue here. People need this truth, and pastors are in that tough position, but they've got to seek out how best to deliver that.
It seems to me the heart of this issue, Pastor Wagner, is this balance maybe you're trying to strike. On one hand, you hear people say, I hear enough of politics on social media, cable TV, everywhere else. I want to go to my church and I don't want to hear about it. On the other hand, it seems like you have a moral obligation to prick their conscience on some of these issues sometimes. How do you walk that line?
Well, you walk the line by really trying to serve your people. Folks are wanting to be equipped, and that's our job, to equip the saints for the work of service. They want to know how they can speak to these issues. It's why I have a little thing called Real Truth, Real Quick for members of our body and other folks on YouTube and other places to watch, because I want to help them. I want them to be ready to engage people and have their speech be always with grace, seasoned with salt, as it were, but they want to be ready. Folks don't want to just stand and just along with culture. Our job is to serve the land that we're in, and one of the ways we serve it is by being the salt and light that we've been asked to be. So we got to give them equipping and training and help them speak winsomely and prophetically about these topics.
Well, Pastor Franklin, when you said a moment ago that you shouldn't feel pressure from the PC culture, you should feel pressure from your king, it made me think, are you worried that the PC culture is making its way into the pulpit, and some pastors, some of your colleagues, are afraid to speak out on these important issues?
Well, there's no question about it. It has happened. History records that there was an ancient city that was beautiful and powerful, but it was just destroyed because the watchman on the wall felt like that he didn't need to worry the people or sound false alarms, and it was controversial if he said something's coming that's dangerous. And someone erected a memorial that said, "Here stood a great city that was destroyed by silence." And if America is destroyed, it'll be destroyed by the pulpits of America being silent.
Billy, I'm running out of time, but I want to give you the last point.
Sure, this is all about truth and love, finding that balance. You've got to speak out in truth, but you've got to do it with love, and I think too often we've done one or the other, and so pastors and Christians more generally, that's the balance we've got to strike.
Terrific. From all of you, we appreciate you coming in on this Palm Sunday.
Thanks for having us.
All right.
Thank
Jed?
you.